But thus far, we are seeing this expenditure, which is exorbitant. We are in harsh economic times. We all accept that. And so I'm saying we cannot continue. The government cannot continue to live the high lifestyle in these harsh times. And so I call upon government to slash down that propaganda vote, cut down on the entertainment, cut down on the overseas travel, cut down on the publicity, Mr. Speaker. They have to cut it down. Set the example there from the top. And in all of this, all this money being spent, what is happening in the country? All serious interest groups have expressed very grave concerns, Mr. Speaker, about the 2010 budget. The picture that has been painted is erroneous and misleading. The minister attempted to say Trinidad and Tobago is doing well by international standards. But she compares us to the most severe countries who are in the world, who are in the centers of the financial storm. Instead, if you look at it, you should compare us to the energy-producing countries, the oil and gas-producing countries, that we can make apple with apple comparison, orange with orange comparison. So when we look at it, the IMF shows that oil and gas exporters of the Middle East and Central Asia, economies like ours, on average, they grew in this financial crisis, 5.8% last year, and they are projected to grow 2.5% this year. They are not going to contract as us by 1%. We are in recession, but those other petroleum economies are not. Even non-petroleum economies in the developing world have on average done better than us. On the whole, they are growing by 6.1% in 2008, and they're projected to grow, they grew by 6.1 in 2008, projected to grow 1.6 in 2009. So they're growing, and we are shrinking, Mr. Speaker. Those are the economies we should be comparing Trinidad and Tobago with, because they are most like our economy. You can't go to the center of the financial storm, nor can you go to countries that were already below us in the rest of the region, in the Caribbean, who do not have the resources that we had. So we are saying this, Mr. Speaker, and it is not because we are unpatriotic. We are saying this because we must face the reality. We must make the right choices given the facts. We cannot lie, Mr. Speaker, and keep spending and doing the same things. We must come to grips with the situation that we are now facing. And so, Mr. Speaker, I had things on the misleading macroeconomic indicators, but I will leave those for my colleague from St. Augustine. And I want to turn now to, after billions of dollars being spent, in fact, 250 billion, I think, Mr. Speaker, over these years, where are we? If we do an environmental scan of Trinidad and Tobago, where are we, Mr. Speaker? And we're here now with a drop in competitiveness because of government's willful mismanagement. Mr. Speaker, Trinidad and Tobago has dropped in the Economic Competitiveness Index a full 46 places since the UNC left office, 46 places. The World Economic Forum statistics show the overall ratio of competitive disadvantages to advantages is 4-to-1, Mr. Speaker. And so I said, don't listen to the Minister of Information or Misinformation, because he was comparing PNM last year with PNM this year. When you compare UNC to PNM, you'll be comparing a rank of 38 under the UNC to a rank of 84 under the PNM. That is no comparison at all, Mr. Speaker. And again, it's a part of government's untrustworthiness in terms of what they say and the credibility gap that we have spoken about. Now, when we look at monies being misspent, I think it is in national insecurity that has been one of the most expensive areas. I've indicated how much monies are being spent, and I'll come later with contract employment, because the Ministry of National Security is one of the largest hirers of contract employees, and we need to know why and where they're working. Are they police officers? I don't know. We have to find that out. And when we look at the billions that have been spent, Trinidad and Tobago now, we're doing an environmental scan. Trinidad and Tobago, once a peaceful country, is now one of the most murderous countries on planet Earth. Wikipedia shows us up as number 8 most murderous in the world. Men and women are afraid to go out at night, to work late, to go for pleasure, to visit different areas, to go withdraw and deposit money freely, to carry cash and valuables in public, to allow the children to go abroad freely. So how can your business grow and prosper in this environment? Mr. Speaker, let us remember under the UNC, the murder rate went down every year from 133 murders until it reached 92 in 99. In contrast, under the PNM, keep rising each year, and it is projected it may reach $500 this year. In murders, yeah, murders, 500. Given this reality, the minister's commitment to zero tolerance is, in my respectful view, a national and international disgrace. We have not caught the perpetrators of 3 bombings in Port of Spain, even though the Honorable Prime Minister said he knows who Mr. Big is. We still can't catch this man. We have not dealt with the smuggled cocaine in government's diplomatic pouches way back in 03 and 04. We have not dealt with the deal, the alleged deal between Mr. Bakar and the Prime Minister, which is to be investigated. We have seen where the Prime Minister's government cultivates relationships with gang leaders. We have seen where the Prime Minister has prevented the Police Service Commission from appointing a Commissioner of Police according to law, and the national murder rates keep climbing. So we see the expenditure of billions of dollars in national security, no results, and that may itself require criminal investigation. We need to know who got our money while people in this country are dying and terrorized by bandits. Environmental scan again, Mr. Speaker. I come to migration. Every year since the UNC left office, more and more people have been migrating. According to the CIA World Factbook 08, people don't run away from a healthy economy, Mr. Speaker, with good macroeconomic fundamentals. Citizens who can go want to run, they send their children, they tell them don't come back, and this is where we are. The latest CIA Factbook figures ranks us as the 4th worst country in terms of the rate at which people are migrating. We are at 170 out of 170, so the 4th worst, Mr. Speaker, in terms of people leaving the country. According to World Bank's Migration and Development Factbook 208, 28% of our population, more than 1 in 4, are counted as having left this country. Even worse, Mr. Speaker, 78% of our population, more than 3 in 4 with tertiary education, have left Trinidad and Tobago. We are ranked 5th worst in the world in this report, Mr. Speaker. So our young and educated, we are spending all this money to educate them. I'm sure the Minister of Education is trying her best. But then what happens? They get a tertiary level education and they're going. So we have to import professionals and import skilled people. Why are they running away? Because the environment is inhospitable, unfriendly, and downright frightening, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the speaking time of the Honourable Member for Siparia has expired.
Speaker, I beg to move that the speaking time of the Honourable Member for Siparia be extended by a further 30 minutes.
Honourable members, the question is that the speaking time of the Honourable Member for Siparia be extended by 30 minutes. All in favour say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it. The speaking time of the Honourable Member is extended by 30 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. Mr. Speaker, I'm looking at the environmental scan, and I just spoke of the migration of our educated, young and educated persons. When we turn to the Human Development Report as well, Mr. Speaker, our ranking has fallen. When under the UNC we were at 49th. We are now, in 2008, at 59th. We are doing worse, therefore, in terms of health, wealth, relative to the rest of the world. That's what that ranking is about. Mr. Speaker, our human poverty ranking has fallen from 5th best performing in the developing world in 01 under the UNC to 12th in 2008 under the PNM. Now, the government boasts about its official poverty statistics, but, Mr. Speaker, I don't think they even believe their own bogus figures, because when they're giving out the smart card, they use a higher monthly minimum, not the official poverty of $655 per month. They use $2,100 as the minimum for giving out these smart cards. So, Mr. Speaker, when we come to health on the environmental scan, the promises are shameful when we see the realities. The eyewitness newspaper reports on the deaths of babies, children, and others, the lack of beds, are horrifying. The Honourable Member for Caroni Central spoke about some of those this morning. Mr. Speaker, the evidence shows that we are moving toward 4th world health care, not that of the 1st world. Because life expectancy has fallen from 74.1 years in 2001 under the UNC. Now under the PNM, life expectancy has gone to 69.2 years in 2008. When we look at the proportion of children born under the PNM, the United Nations states that over 2 times of the proportion of children born under the PNM have less of a chance to reach age 40. 9.1% will not. Under the UNC, it was 4.1%, Mr. Speaker. None of it is good, Mr. Speaker, but we're getting worse. The CIA Factbook notes that Trinidad and Tobago has the highest death rate in the Caribbean, the 4th lowest life expectancy in the Caribbean. UNICEF 2009 report puts the infant mortality at 31 deaths per 1,000, up from 17 deaths per 1,000, 17 per births, 1,000 births which was under the UNC in 2000 and 2001. That's when we left office, Mr. Speaker.